Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we are going to see a game I played in my round 1 of Santa Cup Open 2025. It's a rapid tournament. I participated. It's a local rapid tournament and it's quite a game. This round 1 game is one of my favorite games in the tournament and I did not win this game, but it's one of my favorite games I played in the tournament. And yeah, of course, maybe it's my favorite game, the favorite game I played in the tournament. But let's see why I'm saying this. I'm playing with the white pieces, and I'm so excited to going into this round one because new tournament, and I was not like really aiming to win the tournament or something. Of course, everybody wants to win the tournament, but I just want to play some good chess, my aggressive style chess, and I want to win this game because I'm playing with the white pieces. This is first round to keep the momentum going upon. I want to win this game, and I started with pawn to e4, and I saw who is my opponent is. My opponent is a federated player, and I'm not really scared about federated players because I defeated many federated players. But uh, he was an old guy. He was an old guy, and he looks so confident and so prepared. And everybody was talking about him. He plays well and other things. And I didn't really believe this because some sort of I thought of like he'll not play that much well, and I I I opened the d4, and he surprised me on the move one. Usually, people at the old age play slowly, and they play Karokan, they play e5, they play d6 like perk defense or something. But he wants to win this game, which I did really see in his first move. He plays c5, and c5 is known as the Sicilian defense. And I recommend you to play Sicilian defense no matter what level you are, no matter if you're a world champion or no matter you're a beginner. Everybody needs to play the Sicilian defense with the black when white plays e4. I know Sicilian defense has some million variations, but you just need to stick on to his plan so you don't need to memorize many variations as possible at your level. And Sicilian defense is a double-edged opening. Like, if you don't want a boring draw, or you don't want a dry game, if you want a chaotic game like wild attacks and crazy sacrifices, and you want a decisive game where the result is not a draw. Either you will win or either white will win, but there will be no draw. This is the best opening, Sicilian defense, and many world champion and many great players have played this opening to win important games of their career. And my opponent plays c5. C5 is to control the square, and I can't easily play d4, but I want to play d4 because this pawn is so annoying. This pawn is so annoying, so I don't want to keep that pawn there for so long. So I'll definitely play d4, and I want to keep my knight here. The problem, if I play d4 right now, black will take and I capture with the queen. He'll play knight to c6 and winning a tempo on my queen. And there is another thing too, you can play c3, and it's like the Smith-Morra gambit, but I don't really like Smith-Morra gambit because I don't know much about this. Um, he played. Uh, I want to play d4, but I don't want to capture with my queen. I want to capture with my knight, so I played knight to f3, preparing d4. And I expected him to play the move he played. He played d6. The thing is, he can play many moves in this position. He can play knight to c6 classical variation. He can play g6 hyper accelerated. I mean g6 hyper accelerated dragon Sicilian. He can play knight to f6 ninja's variation. He can play e6 French variation. He played d6, and d6 doesn't have a name because I don't know, but this controls this e5 square when you develop the knight to f6. So d6 helps you, and it may look like it's going to help the bishop developing out, but nah, bishop will most likely fianchet to here. But depending upon the positions, you will just keep the bishop here also. And I played d4, trying to remove this pawn. He took, and he was more than happy because he'll get to open file for his rook. And the second thing is he's trading side pawn, a flank pawn for my central pawn. So he'll be having two central pawns, and I'll be having only one central pawn. So I need to keep that in mind. I took the pawn, keeping my knight in the center, and he attacked my pawn. He played knight to f6, attacking my pawn, and I wanna play c4 in this position because I don't want to block my c pawn playing knight to c3. I want to play c4, and I want to play f3 or bishop to d3 and defend his pawn, and then play c4 and then play knight to c3 and continue my game. But I don't want to take risks against federated players, so I play knight to c3, defending my pawn, and he can play many moves in this position. Knight to c6 he can play, e6 he can play, e5 he can play, a6 he can play, g6 he can play, and a6 is known as the knight of Sicilian, and I was expecting him to play this because when he played this move, I was expecting him to play the knight of Sicilian, but he played another move which surprised me. He played g6, and g6 is known as the dragon Sicilian. Dragon Sicilian, and it's one of the most aggressive openings for black. I mean, in the Sicilian setups. And the good thing is, Dragon might be the best opening, best variation in Sicilian defense, except for one thing. There is an attack called Yugoslavian attack, and Fisher used it famously. Like Fisher's philosophy was to just play bishop to e3, queen to e2, long castle, and develop bishop, or you to stop it and play h4, h5, and rip open the h file and trade down the stack square bishop for the stack square bishop, and checkmate with queen and knight and queen and rook. And Fisher's idea was that, and I was like, when he played g6, I was so shocked because many top grandmasters stopped playing d6 g6, because even beginner amateur players also, in like intermediate players also, just pushing h4 h5 and checkmating grandmasters. So it became like a routine weapon and everybody stopped playing g6. But this guy played g6, and I thought of like, I'll definitely win this game. So I played bishop to e3, trying to play queen to d2 and castle. He played bishop to g7, fian shotting the bishop in this long diagonal. That's why he played g6. This is known as the dragon bishop. I played f3 because I want to stop his knight from coming to g4 and harassing my bishop. He simply castled. I played queen to d2, preparing long castle, and my idea is to go to the keep my bishop in the square and trade down and open this h file, and my queen will be checkmating here. And I need to drive this knight, so g4, g5, of course. So that's my plans, and it looks scary, right? It looks scary. But let's see how my opponent will handle that. After I played queen to d2, he simply develops the knight, knight to c6. Developing the knight, nothing so special. I simply long castled, and he plays an interesting move, bishop to d7. And bishop to d7 is the only move because he wants to develop, and he can play another moves too, like queen to b6. In this position, he can play that if he wants, but uh, bishop to d7 was like, he doesn't have any other squares for the bishop, and then he wants to play a6 and b5. He doesn't want his knight to be hanging, and he doesn't want to take, because it gives me bishop in this long diagonal and it will cause problems. Yeah, you can play e5, but I'll simply tuck my bishop, and nothing will happen. You will be weakening this d4 square, d5 square. So he doesn't want to take, and he doesn't allow me to take and win a piece, so he plays bishop to d7, defending that piece. And I played bishop to c4, developing my bishop in this long diagonal, and connecting my rooks. He played rook to c8, creating an immediate threat. The threat is, if I play carelessly h4, he simply take my knight, and my bishop is also hanging, so I need to take with the queen. And after I take with the queen, this bishop will be betraying my queen, so wherever the knight moves, I'll be under huge attack. I mean, huge problems, because this bishop is attacking my queen, and I need to defend this bishop too. So I'll be having a lot of problems in these positions. Like knight can go here, and he'll simply, a knight can go here, and then I'll go back, and knight can take this, and if I take this, bishop rook will take this, and this kind of complications will come in the game. So that's the threat. So I did not play a careless move. I saw this, so I played bishop to b3, keeping it in this long diagonal, and saving that bishop. And he plays an interesting move, a typical Sicilian move. He plays knight to e5. Knight to e5 in the nature is to just centralizing the knight, and he's provoking me to play f4 in this position. If I play f4, this looks strong, like gaining space, but f4 weakens this square, so I can't actually play g4 in this position, because the square is already protected two times. But if in this position I can play g4, because this pawn is protecting this pawn. So pawns are the best defenders. So you can't actually do anything even if you have two pieces protecting that square, because my pawn is protecting it. And if I play g4, f4, my pawn will not be protecting the square, so g4 will not be possible, and I'll have problems dealing with that. And if I play f4, he'll simply go here, and he's working my queen and bishop, and I don't really they can't really give up my dark square bishop, because I need to trade it down, so I'll be forced to give it this. So that's the thing. And I thought of like, this is unstoppable, right? So let's just play h4, and I just thought of like, okay, let's just play h4, and if it does this, I'll simply take, and I'll play h5. And if it takes with the knight, I'll simply sacrifice my exchange and bring my other rook. And I won this kind of positions because I had this kind of positions in my online games, and I won this kind of positions brilliantly. I can sacrifice the exchange, I can win. And this is a typical idea. But he, instead of going for this, and I thought of like, he'll go for this, and then I'll play h4, and he will take, and I can push, you know push and pull it this and this, and I can next move this push and then checkmate. This can be happen. Or else if I want to go in a fast way, I'll simply take and then go here, and this looks so scary, right? Yeah, of course, that looks so scary. And I won this kind of positions many times. So I thought of like that, but he completely shut down my play by playing, instead of jumping here, he played h5 in this position, completely stopping my plans. And if this was a normal chess.com game, I will definitely play g4. I would definitely play g4, and then after he takes, I'll play h5, sacrificing a pawn and then sacrificing second pawn. And after he takes, I'll simply I sacrifice the exchange also, and then I'll simply go my rook here. And I don't know what's the evaluation of the engine, but I won this kind of positions many times. So I don't wanna waste time and I wanna attack, but I don't wanna take risks against a federated player, because he seems like experienced. He plays so many theory moves. He played so many theory moves, so I felt like he's so experienced, and that's why I did not play g4. I played bishop here. Like I thought of like, okay, let's go all in. Let's just let's just go all in and attack. And he played an interesting move. The thing is, you don't want black doesn't want to take and allow the queen here, because black takes and allow the queen will be so annoying, and I can simply play g4, take this and this one, and then sacrifice the exchange and bring my rook here. The queen is already here, so I don't need to waste time to bring my queen here. So this queen will be so annoying for black. So I thought of like, he'll definitely not take. And in this kind of positions, black usually allows white to take, and black captures with the king to protect the square, to protect that square. But in this position was different from other positions, because in this position my opponent took, and I was so happy because I simply took back, because I thought of like, okay, g4, and then takes, and then h5, and then he'll capture the knight or something. I'll sacrifice my exchange. I'll bring this other rook into the play, or via g5 or h5 if possible, and checkmate the black king. I was so happy about this, and this pawn is pinned by the way. This pawn is pinned by the way. So there are some tactics about this pawn, but he played an interesting move. Like I genuinely missed this move. I should have considered this, but I genuinely missed this. He played, as I said in the earlier of the video, black sometimes sacrifices the exchange on this position in Sicilian defense, mainly in Knight or Sicilian. And some players like Mazier, like Grave, MVL, that guy will sacrifice his exchange every time when he plays Sicilian Idol. And he's a very strong guy. He's a French player, and French number one, and he plays some pretty chess. The idea is to sacrifice the exchange and ruin, sometimes to win the central pawn, sometimes to ruin the queen side to attack the king, and that's what my opponent does. He plays rook takes on c3. And when I saw this with engine said it's a book move. It's a book move. So we are still in a theory. It's still theory. I don't have any other option. I was so dazzled by this move. I simply took the pawn, I mean rook, capturing with my pawn, and he directly attacked that pawn. He played queen here, attacking this pawn, and I need to defend that pawn, right? I thought of like pushing, but when he brings the rook here, I don't know how to defend that pawn actually. So I played king to b2, defending this pawn. And I thought of like everything will be fine. I'll simply try to chase away this queen, and I'll try to defend this. But he played rook to c8, bringing his other rook to the c file, only half open file, and he's keeping constant pressure. And the best move is to go knight to e2. But of course, I don't want to keep my knight here, because keeping my knight here is like, they can't actually kick my knight playing e5 or any other move, because the knight is here, and my knight will be so centralized. It's controlling a lot of squares in this position. uh, so I don't want to move my knight there. So I played queen here, defending this pawn twice with my queen and king, and he's attacking with queen and rook. And as you can see, my queen and king are in a perfect geometry to deliver this fork, but the bishop is there. So how do you get rid of that bishop? He plays queen to b6, pinning my bishop and threatening this fork. And I saw that of course. So I played king to a1, getting away this from this, and he plays a4, trying to deviate my bishop and try to do something. And I played a4. I played a4, completely stopping his plans because I don't want to allow his plans and fall into some problems. And I was so worried about my position because it's slowly decreasing. uh, he played queen to c5, trying to infiltrate via a3, and I stopped it. King to b2. As I said, black also will play king to g7 and stop the queen, and I stopped it with my king. This infiltration, and he plays a mind-boggling move. It's not mind-boggling; it's a simple tactic, which I of course missed in a rapid game. It's a rapid game, by the way, as I told you. So I was playing incredibly fast. He plays bishop takes on a4, sacrificing the bishop. The idea is after my bishop takes, he'll deliver this knight 4 can win the queen. So I can't actually take the bishop. And I lost a pawn for nothing. So I simply attacked the bishop and expecting him to move back or trade down and create this pawn chain, and that's what happened in the game. I was behind these pawns, and he played a typical move in Sicilian defense. In Sicilian defense, you wanna play a move, and white tries its all, or white tries like everything in its power to stop you from playing that move. Like white first will play e4 already to stop you from playing that move, and white will play sometimes c4, sometimes like I said, Marozzi bind structure, and white plays bishop to c4 to stop you playing that move, and white plays knight to c3 to stop you from playing that move. That move is d5. White tries to control that d5 square a lot, and this position white is controlling it, but black is controlling it, you know, more times, and black plays d5 in this position. And it is said that if black can successfully play d5 in Sicilian defense without losing any material or without getting checkmated, it's completely fine. Or it means that black is equal already, or black is already winning. And in this position, my opponent is winning, and my pawn is double attacked. So I need to take. I took. He captured, and attacking my pawn for the third time. I don't have any other option to than to bring my knight. I bought. He played knight here. I can play rook here, but I brought my knight here, and in fact, knight here is the best move. Um, I defended my pawn. He played. Mm, uh, Wait a minute. Yeah, he played queen to b6. Pinning this pawn again because he observes that it's the same thing. It's like the bishop protecting the square. So I need to pin this pawn to give this work. I played king to c2, and he played knight to e3, attacking my king. I played king to here. You know, I thought of like I'll definitely move away from that pawn, but I don't wanna. I don't wanna go here and then allow this move and then allow this check, and I'll be in a lot of trouble, and I'll come back here, and he will eventually take. So I played king to b1, giving up this pawn. He took he took and I blocked with my queen, offering queen trade, and he can't really accept. If he accepts, I'll simply take, and this position might be better for him, but not really, because I had two rooks and he have two knights. I'll be an exchange up. Yeah, he has two pawns. I have only four pawns, but yeah, everything's equal. He doesn't trade queens. He plays queen to c4, avoiding the trade of queens and keeping some pressure. I don't know what to do. So I thought of like I'll survive by taking this pawn and blocking this rook from infiltrating this h file, a file. So I played rook takes on a5, grabbing a pawn, and I didn't see how black can attack this rook, and he played knight to d3, attack my queen, and these knights are preventing me at a lot of stuff. Like I can't go here because of this knight, I can't go here because of this knight, so I can't really go in the squares. So I need to move my queen. I played queen to a1, a2, seeking for queen trade. He simply declined again. He played queen to c7, avoiding the queen trade, and attacking my rook. It's not like attacking, keeping some pressure. My queen is already defending, but I thought of like, well, if I can trade down this to a end game where I'll be having a knight and rook for black's two knights, I'll definitely be winning, right? So I played rook here, expecting a trade, expecting a fair trade or something. Because if I can give up this queen for this queen and give up this rook for this rook, I can simply be better because of my exchange up. But he did trade, and this is the final mistake because I allowed mate in 3 in this position. He played queen to b6, checking my king, and I can't really block with a queen to be checkmated, or else I'll be losing the rook too, by the way. So I need to move here, and if he takes the rook, I thought of like I'll capture with the queen and nothing will happen, but he plays an interesting move, intermediate move in this position, which I completely missed. I'm not gonna lie. He plays knight to c2 check, and I should definitely take that knight, right? I took. He simply gave this check. I blocked, and in this position, I resigned in this position. Yeah, I resigned in this position because Nechmo is coming here, and I don't want to see that, so I resigned in this position. And yeah, he won a brilliant game. He sacrificed an exchange and launched a devastating queenside attack, and he played like an incredible monster. I should really appreciate him for this play. He played so incredible. And yeah, that's the game. That's my round one game. Such a disastrous round. And the round two I won. Round three I won. Round four I lost. I'll cover that games too. And yeah, I hope you like this game and leave a comment about how Black played in this game. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.